Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're reviewing a Porsche Macan S. Now, before we get into the video, I want to show some cool B-roll clips of a tent that you can get for the Porsche Macan. That is correct, you can get a Porsche tent for your Porsche Macan. It comes with a ladder and it's actually really big inside, and on top of that it has these struts inside, so when you're setting it up, once you get the struts in place, the tent just pops right open. It's really cool. But anyways, before we get into this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Porsche here in Salt Lake City, Utah for giving me some time with this Macan S. I'll include a link to their website in the description down below so you can check what they have currently. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a turbocharged 2.9 liter V6 that goes through a 7-speed dual clutch automatic. Fuel economy 17 around town and then 23 on the highway, with power outputs being 375 horsepower and then 383 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, this is the what I call normal Porsche design, so you guys can see how it's kind of raised on either side. And then I love how the headlights are fixed in place when you open up the hood, so there's cutouts in the hood for the lights. You guys can see the Porsche emblem there in the center as well. And then something that I learned today in terms of telling this apart from a regular Macan is actually the intake situation here on the side. So you guys can see that is a 4-cylinder Macan, and notice how it's all closed off on the sides versus this is open. So that's one of those cool design details. But outside of that, there's the rest of the front end. Now around the side here, our tire wheel setup is 265 40 21 in the front and then 295 35 21 in the rear. And you guys can see here with the wheels, you got the silver there on the top, and it's dark in the center. And then I love the red brake caliper with this as well. I think that looks really sharp. And then look how rounded off the fender is. And then notice with the mirror caps, door handles, all of that is body painted, window trim blacked out too. And then here is your full side view with this Macan S. Now we've got the normal Porsche key fob, I guess is what we'll call it, if it is normal, because I mean, the thing looks like a car, it's so cool. And it's painted as well with this one. But anyways, you got your lock and unlock function and the opening for the hatch too. And then popping inside, you've got the cargo cover built in from the factory, and look at the storage space. The Macan's not a very big SUV, but it's still pretty dang practical. When you're all done, you can close it and lock it if you want, or you can just close it with that button. And then I think the light bar design here in the back of the Macan's really cool. Got the S badge there, and then look how crazy these exhaust tips are. And putting it all together, let me know your thoughts on the overall design here with the S. Now taking a look at the door panel here in the back, you guys can see we've got a sunshade here for the rear passengers, and then notice soft touch and down below, and I like the two-tone design with this. We also have some darker wood trim as well. And then here are the seats, you guys can see perforated all down the center portion. And then legroom in the back is really good. We also have a little storage pocket. We've got vents here for the rear passengers. You can also change the temp. Heated seats, got some USBs down below. And would you look at this? Got a cup holder, armrest. And then last but not least, headroom. It's good. Now taking a look at the front door panel, you guys can see again soft touch here, and then look at the trim down below, and then more of that. And with the two-tone, you can see how it's like all tan on the bottom portion. And then we got level window controls here. Notice that's to open up the hatch. You got your mirror adjustments. The mirrors do power fold in. You have memory seats, and then here's a quick look at the mirrors themselves. They do have blind spot monitoring. And then taking a look at the front seat, perforated all down the center portion. Power adjustments on the side, Macan S there as well. And then you guys can see with the light controls, and then you've got that for the ignition start. And then the dash is soft touch, which is nice. But again, you can see the theme of the black on the top with the tan down below. And of course, we got the sport chrono clock. Now taking a look at the steering wheel, you guys can see soft touch all around. Paddle shifters down the back for the 7-speed dual clutch. And then we've got some practical controls here on the front, like your phone controls, voice command controls. And then I like how there's 3 stalks on the back. Now the 24 Macan still has the mostly analog gauge cluster, which I personally am a huge fan of, because first off, look at the coloration with the gauge cluster. I think that looks really sharp. But yeah, RPMs front and center. And then you do have that screen off to the side, which you can use to scroll through and see different bits of info and systems within the car. And then the Macan does come with a 360 camera system, so that's reverse. And then notice when I pop it into drive, then it'll hop on the front camera, and you can also switch between the views. But yeah, resolution is really good. This isn't a huge SUV, so it really doesn't need a 360 camera system, but it's nice that it has it. Now, as for the infotainment system itself, shortcut bar here on the side, and response time with the screen is actually pretty dang good. Everything loads up at a pretty quick pace. I'm gonna turn that off. So yeah, I'd say overall very user-friendly. And then another thing I like is the physical buttons associated with the radio. I hate it when manufacturers don't offer anything like that with the infotainment system. And then look at the beautiful trim around, and again, very tight fit and finish. I mean, look at this for the glove box. Like, normal glove box, but just the handle to open it up just feels very premium. And then we've got a lot here in the center stack. So we've got probably my favorite shifter in the Porsche world, because it just feels like you're doing something substantial. I guess I should say outside of a manual transmission. We do have our controls here for the dual zone climate. We have heated and ventilated seats. We also have our adjustments for like the drive mode select, so you guys can see like the sport mode, got an off-road mode. We have the adjustment for the suspension as well. Like I said, lots of controls here in the center. A little bit of storage right there, it says Macan. And then again, more of that nice trim here on the side. Some cup holders, pretty normal center console, got a bunch of USBs. Nice padding on the top, and then we got more practical controls up top for like the parking sensors and stuff. But the main thing is we do have a panoramic sunroof. So here's a window sticker for this Macan S. I think this is technically kind of like a higher end / middle of the line Macan S, because I know you can add more options than this has. But anyways, here are the options on this particular one. You can see the base price of the S package. And yeah, there's quite a bit added to this. But anyways, total MSRP after all options is $87,090. Let's see how it drives. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off in the Macan S. Here's your visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, throughout the rest of the rear. And let us set off in the Macan S. So first off, as we're kind of slowly pulling out here, I will say these seats are really comfy. That's something I do like about the S package with Porsche is, you know, you do get extra power and everything, but you still get kind of some more luxury elements, I guess is what you could say with it. And dual clutch is very seamless right off the bat. The thing that I love about Porsche dual clutches is you still get the speed in terms of shift times and everything that you get with a dual clutch transmission, but you don't get the harshness you get with other dual clutches. Like at really low speeds, if you're, you know, kind of working it a little bit, yeah, you might feel a thing, you know, here and there. But if you're just driving along like normal, it's very easy to forget that you have a dual clutch, which I think is cool. And ride quality is good with the Macan S. It's comfortable. We're in the more comfortable suspension setting. We don't have it firmed up at all. I think they've done a good job with ride quality. I don't know what's happening here. Someone's pulling out, someone's pulling in. Okay. But yeah, I think they've done a good job with ride quality. And there was a perfect example. Slowed down and the transmission wasn't weird at all. Didn't even, you know, obviously I'm trying to notice for the review, but like realistically did not even notice, which yeah, I think that's fantastic. Yeah, and everything about this, it's so smooth. It's really cool. Again, you know, even though Porsche's kind of more focused on sportiness and all that, I feel like this has a pretty good grasp on the luxury side of things as well, from the ride quality to the seat comfort and all of that. Now we are going to pop it into the sport mode. Now that'll also firm up the suspension automatically. And it's always interesting to see how the engines in these Porsche SUVs perform compared to the Audi counterparts, because, you know, yeah, you think same powertrain should feel the same, and it does not. Yeah, again, super responsive with the transmission. So I'm going to pop it into the manual mode here. Yeah, again, just instant and smooth. And this is where I think a dual clutch ought to be, because then I don't know, it makes it so it's okay to have an automatic. That's quick. Again, you got horsepower. I always say this, horsepower and then Porsche horsepower. It's quick. The transmission also just, it really helps out with making it feel fast because of just how quick the shifts are. So to cap things off with the Macan S, is this the, you know, Porsche sweet spot? I think it depends on what you're looking for, right? So what I see the S package doing is you basically, you want a, you want Porsche's more luxury-based experience, if that makes sense. But then you want more power than what the base provides, because the base is kind of like luxury. It's good with the power, but it's not like fast. This is like, you still want that luxury experience, but then you want something that's quick. That's where the S package sits. So let me guys think about the Macan S.